Guys, we've got the very latest on the saga that continues involving, and I don't know if you're familiar with this, Dianna Russini and Mike Vrabel. Yeah, I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with that story. But here is the latest. Dianna Russini, now under investigation by The Athletic. According to Mike Reese of ESPN, Mike Vrabel will now not take part in the pre-draft press conference. And the whole little story that they gave everybody about friends were there, it was an innocent encounter, et cetera, that lasted for about 30 seconds before people realize, this doesn't add up. And so now, after The Athletic had Dianna Russini's back publicly and supported her publicly, now she will not be reporting. Her contract is also up this summer, so there's some speculation that maybe she is done reporting for them for good. And now Mike Vrabel is going to go ahead and step away, which is probably the right move, considering
what do you mean step away?
Well, if he's not going to be a part of the pre-draft.
Be very clear on that. Not step away,
the pre-draft press conference, he's not going to be a part of it.
Because Dianna Russini's step away is away.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not Mike Vrabel.
Vrabel is going to not be a part of the pre-draft press conference, and anybody there, and look, he's it's not like anybody's going to ask, hey, what do you guys think about the linebacker depth in this draft? No, they're going to want to know what happened on the rooftop in Sedona. That's what they're going to want to know. So probably a smart move for Mike Vrabel, but the story that we were told and fed initially,
and the
went
interview
off like a fart in church, and here we are.
But just be clear that the interview that you're speaking of has already come and gone, right? Like the story blew up, and there's supposed to be an interview, a pre-draft interview, where Mike Vrabel maybe talks about and highlights what it is that they're thinking about going into the draft. So you're talking about a scenario where if it was as open shut as the coach initially made it sound, there's no problem with you being in front of the cameras. And I would rather the media hear me and see me say, there's nothing there. Can we talk about the pre-draft versus not doing the interview at all? And that, to me, I feel like that creates more conversation behind everything that's being thrown out there than, to me, I mean, it's going to happen either way, but don't change what you're doing is what I would say.
Well, let me just ask you this. Does this work in today's society? Because I tend to lean no. If something like this happens, I feel like you got to get out in front of it. You have to do more than just say it's laughable, because it seems like there's too much smoke there. And pushing off a meeting with the media where you know you're going to be asked about it, and it only allows there to be more time where, I don't know if it's the Athletic or the New York Times, they're now hiring an investigator to look into it further.
It's the Athletic. But the Athletic I think
they're owned by the Times.
They are owned by the Times, yeah. So go.
So, but the point is, it only allows for there to be more time for the story to get legs, drum up more of whatever was going on, dig deeper into all of this. And so to think that it's not going to come up again, you're going to be able to avoid it, it's impossible. Not in today's news cycle. And I think you talk to most PR firms and people who give advice on this, they'd say to get out ahead of it. Like, you're allowing other people now to control the narrative with speculation and more photos and more videos and everything else that comes from this. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I've been sent videos of Dianna Russini basically talking poorly about her husband, which leads to worse speculation. And the way she'll sound at times makes it seem like, yeah, maybe this is someone who was looking for something else. But not even to go down that road, right? Because like the manner in which they're handling it, I think you knew that New York Times or The Athletic, whoever you want to point to, was going to do something. But with the Patriots side of this, it's like, this isn't just going to go away. And so at some point you have to stand up, you got to talk about it, and you're going to have to make a statement about it in order to move past. And maybe you do, maybe you don't. Maybe it's always something that kind of hangs around, but that's the world we live in now. I think kicking the can down the road doesn't work anymore.
Yeah, I don't know how at some point he's going to be asked about it, especially with that media and the way that this works, and just in general. I don't know how you avoid this. It seems unavoidable, and the longer that it goes on, I would agree, the more that I think it's a bad look, because people are just, it's going to build and build and build and build and build, and then finally they're going to get their opportunity, and there's going to be one question and two questions. He already gets frustrated and flustered with the media to begin with. He's already a little bit of a red ass and a smart ass, and I just don't think there's any way around having to talk about this at some point. It's going to happen.
Here's what has to happen, and I think within the investigation, what's being put out there is that Russini has to clear up with The Athletic the 6 other people that were there or supposedly there. And that could be the piece of information that kind of puts the story to bed or makes the story that much more real. Was that cap? were there really 6 friends there? And if they were there, who are these 6 friends? Like, I think the burden of her being able to prove that this was literally a friend's deal where, listen, he's no more than a friend, and we became friends. However they became friends, they're all a friend group, and she's a part of it, and they were there, and that's what took place. If that's what's the story everybody is using, including the spouses, then the story goes away and the damage is done, but at least it's minimized for both Russini and for Vrabel. I think the bigger point that has to be thrown out there, though, is that we are now in a moment of time where we just had a big situation take place at FS1, at Fox. And what took place there. Now, not too much further out from that, you have another situation along the same type of lines that now surfaces as well. So the conversation is ultimately going to be the integrity of sources and the sources that are connected to the publication. So The Athletic had to do this. The Athletic couldn't just say we're going to stand on the fact that it's out of context. The pictures are the pictures. We support Dianna Russini. You couldn't do that, because now what's going to come into question is any type of inside information that comes out. And if that information comes from, let's just say, for the sake of saying, because of the conversation, it comes from a woman, it's going to immediately be questioned. What is the relationship of this woman with that coach, and what is the standard and what is the credibility of the publication it's coming from? Are you the New York Times, or are you, who did spin, right? Like, it's kind of like right now, journalistic integrity of outlets is probably going to find themselves in question because of something like this in specific. No way around it.
Yeah, I think that the more that whatever they thought the initial statement was going to get them backfired to a degree that I don't think anybody saw coming, because then it dug up and brought up all of these old stories. You mentioned the comments about her husband, which, look, their relationship, whatever, that's their business. But, who cares? If she's, they're doing whatever they're doing on the side, then have fun and do what you got to do. It is the credibility aspect of it. It's the credibility portion of it that I think people look at, because they start to think about, well, she did have a lot of stories of the Titans. Like, there was a lot of news that seemingly broke that she was a part of. The A.J. Brown trade and rumors that were out there. All of those things that I think now the Athletic's looking at going, oh, wow. Well, wait a second.
Oh, wow.
Okay, but but let me play devil's advocate without getting in too much trouble here. I mean, do we want to know how all these insiders get all their information all the time?
Depends on who
there's
they
a double
are. Depends on who
there's
they
a double
are.
standard in different ways. in the sense that, how some of the guys do it versus maybe how people think that maybe a woman might do it, whatever the case may be. If you are deemed as an insider, do people, like, they're more into the scoop. That's kind of part of your job, right?
Yes.
And so I'm not trying to make, Jonas, I know you're smiling, you're smirking. I'm not trying to make a case of saying anything. I'm just saying from a professional standpoint.
Say something.
I feel like people don't want to know how the meat's made. Like Jonas doesn't, like some people don't want to know how the sausage is made.
Oh, God.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I think we know now.
We know what happens to the sausage. We don't want to know how it's made. We still don't want to know how it's made. We just know what happens to it.
It's just, I mean, and look, there's other names that have been brought up. Other reporters that have been called into question about how they get certain stories and whatnot, that all of a sudden they're catching strays.
Oh, Josina's name came up.
What?
Josina Anderson's name came up. There's a Britt McHenry, her name came up. Like, what's crazy is that they're all DC people. I've been hearing this for years. Like, this goes back to when I was
you were deep into it. You were deep into it in DC.
Hold on now.
I'm just saying, you were in the middle of it.
Don't put me deep into it. I wasn't deep into it.
I'll let me walk back the way I put that. I'm sorry.
I mean, my integrity in that realm is at least okay.
You were. You had your hands full with those sorts of situations in DC.
Not my hands. My hands weren't full. I was a spectator. I was a spectator of all of the gossip because I was in media in DC.
Correct.
That's all. Yeah. There's more too. There are more.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
who?
It goes across lines, categorical lines. Like, it goes into cheerleading. It goes into media, sales. It was one big thing in DC. It's all.
I did get a
is what I'll leave it at.
You saw there were some people over the weekend. I saw some stuff out there that we just don't feel like this is really any of our business to discuss, and we don't feel like this whole thing kind of grosses. You're friends with Russini. Just stop, okay? If this was somebody else, you'd get in the mud too. All right, if it was somebody else and the story was dirty, you would have gotten involved too. It's just like this is calling in to question a lot of people's credibility with the actions and the way that it's being covered by people.
Does this damage insider reporting? Like, do you want, are people going to be like, look, at the cost of it being transactional, I don't care. Like, I'll get the information when I get it. How important is it to be able to say, I scooped you? Like, I knew they were going to trade A.J. Brown last week. They traded A.J. Brown today, and the report is coming out today. How important is that transaction to media, to what takes place? How important is it? I think that has to be the question, because ultimately this is a category that was created for the sake of being able to say, like, we scooped somebody. News is very different and very difficult at this point in time, at this juncture, because technology has given athletes the opportunity to break news. So there's no real need to be a person that is a breaking news reporter. All you got to do is have your feed on, like, have your notifications on. A.J. Brown says he wants out of Philadelphia. You don't have to get that from an interview. Dianna Russini says, reports from The Athletic, A.J. Brown wants to get a trade. No, it's going to come from somebody's social media.
You do for coaches, though. You do for the organizations.
Okay, that's fair. But, again, how important is that, is what I would say. How important is it?
Ultimately, they're in control, right? Like, if an organization wants to move on from a player, whether the player wants to be there or not, I think we all know they'll find ways of doing so. I think they're equally important. Like, player empowerment's important now with the platforms that they've got to be able to put people in check. I saw Travis Hunter tweeted at, I believe, Ian Rappaport, maybe, in regards to a report he made about, what position he's going to play and when he'll be back healthy and everything he's been doing. And, he's asking like, who told you that? Right. Like, so it's out there for everyone, but I do think it's mostly used by front offices, ownership groups, and obviously head coaches, because, it's their way of, and we've seen this before too, how coaches go about getting the attention of players. Instead of just talking to them directly, they go to the media and they put pressure on players that way. And so it's no different than the front office leaking something out to either put pressure on the player, his agent, or, maybe it's just to kind of see how the fan base receives it, accepts it. There's a bunch of different ways of doing it.
Who was it that just did the report from the front office person that was talking about Jalen Hurts? What was his name again?
Jeff McClain.
McClain.
Yeah.
Right? That's insider information. You didn't disclose who it was that gave you that information. It was said by someone internally that
clearly, yeah, that they use the front office. It was, implied that they use they use the media to get through to Jalen Hurts.
Right. So to me, again, how important is that? But do we know today how accurate that report was? Do we know today what impact that is having on Jalen Hurts or A.J. Brown or the Philadelphia Eagles, Nick Sirianni, whoever, Big Dom? Do we know what type of impact is being had with Jalen Hurts' horrible impact on what's going on internally with the do we even know how that's a true story?
I think that story got dwarfed by Vrabel and Rossini playing Marco Polo in Sedona. I think that's where things come.
I do think it is interesting, like the point you brought up earlier, LeVar. Some of this hangs around and is surrounded around us, like finding out who else was there.
Yeah,
have
we heard anything from them?
No, and that's the hard part is like you can't claim you're there with other people if there's no other people ever. Like no one's came forward.
They put your boy Taylor Lewan and all of them with the knee brace on and all that.
So I was actually looking at. Do you know why you haven't heard from those other people?
Why?
Because they didn't exist. That's why they weren't there. It's a BS story.
Well, again,
and they got caught,
and I think that is why it was brought up, and that was why it was brought to the conversation, is if it is indeed not proven that there was a group of people there, and if those 6 people that you're talking about outside of you, which I'm assuming makes 8, how many of those 6 people are male? How many of those 6 people are female? And I got to be honest, what's the relationship dynamics that's connected to the people that are there?
So
are these husband and wives? Are these boyfriends and girlfriends?
What does the split need to be? 3 male, 3 female for you to feel comfortable?
No, because
I feel like LeVar would be good at figuring this out.
All right, so let's talk
I just think well, if it's 6 and you're 8, that you got to assume that might equate couples. That could equate couples if they're not careful in what the relationship dynamics are. But if you're talking about, okay, as a group of coaches or somebody from, the media world, if it's different media or different work backgrounds or whatever that aren't connected, I think there's a lot of scrutiny that has to take place in terms of how you look at who they are to come up with what you deem, if I'm the Athletic and I'm doing this investigation, what I deem is appropriate.
Now, is the pineapple pointing up or down?
If it's pointing down, if the top of the pineapple is pointing down, then obviously the glove has fit, and if the glove fits, you cannot acquit.
If that's the case, she should get an extension.
I didn't think anyone's wearing gloves, but
dang,
LeVar, don't you have a shirt that's got an upside down pineapple on it?
He's got shorts.
I had some Penn State shorts. I had some Penn State shorts on upside down. I'm guilty as charged. Hey, it is what it is.
He was wearing them last week.
We all have things that we have to fight through.
So back to my initial question. Like, if do you care with the insider how they get their information?
Again, that's the point. Do we care?
Like, do you care? I'm asking you guys. Do you care?
I don't really care about insider information, because until it becomes real, what is it like to be able to say I was the one that scooped it? Like, unless it's like, I hate to do it to him because he's on TV and I love him to death, but unless it's like something as big as Manti Te'o, okay, insider scoop says that there's something
What
weird.
does that have to do with
Why did he
anything?
catch a stray?
Yeah.
Well, because I'm just talking about the story.
That's your linebacker brethren?
That is. I don't want to throw him under the
disrespectful,
I don't
man.
want to throw him under the bus, but I'm just
Yeah,
saying.
but the problem is everyone. Okay,
if
and
you
maybe
scoop
that's what-
that, if you scoop that
maybe-
story, come on now.
Maybe that's what we're doing here. Is everyone's rushing to judgment, and we don't have all the facts because then we saw a Netflix show come out. And we're like, oh,
Like, hey,
and
man,
like
you felt
all of us
bad
Notre
for
Dame
him.
folks, we were trying to tell you, you didn't want to listen. We were trying to tell you. We're like, this is a much deeper
I
conversation
felt
story.
so bad for Manti, but the damage had already been done.
Okay,
And-
so
and
is
that
there
was
going to be a Netflix series out of this thing?
I don't think that this is big enough unless Mike Vrabel lost his job. I hate to say it. The reality of it is that Russini is more expendable in this scenario than Mike Vrabel. And people can take it however they want to take it, but the reality of it is that Dianna Russini will be looking for a job, might already be looking for a job, might be damaged goods based on the level of this story. So now what it is that she does, and she does very well, by the way. Dianna Russini is a very good reporter at what she does, and she does get inside information and is able to disseminate it. She's one of their highest paid employees. And now she's not going to have the ability to be able to do that, and she's considered to be radioactive. She's going to have to do it on her own. She's going to have to create a podcast and do it on her own. Look at Joy Taylor. She leaned into it, and it's working for her. But she's quiet. It's quiet, though. It's quiet. It's not – you don't have as big a microphone as she had before, a megaphone as she had before. So I think it's a big story. I think it's Netflix worthy. I think it's big as hell.
Peanut butter skin.
And them big old cans. If Mike Vrabel loses his job over this or gets suspended over this, then now that further goes back into Pandora's box because your owner was at Asian Orchids and Orchids of Asia.
Oh yeah, but
Like getting
on.
rubbed out, like getting them kinks rubbed out and getting like the sore spots rubbed out of them. And now that's going to come back to light. That's going to be discussed and talked about. There's a whole lot of fallout that comes out if Mike Vrabel is hit by this. Dianna Russini, unfortunately for her, not so much.
Super Bowl hangover is a real thing.
It is.
The team that loses the Super Bowl just doesn't seem to go right.
Maybe they should have thought about that.
Yeah, should have.
Dianna should have really thought about it because I feel like she had more to lose in this. She had a lot to gain, but I think if this turns out to be what people are saying it is, and she can't get another gig because of what she was doing, and that's what it's based off of, she had way more to lose in this scenario than Mike Vrabel did.
I do think it's interesting that the Athletic came out initially and supported her, right? They made a statement.
They did.
And now they're investigating it. And maybe it's, which is interesting because it feels like their reaction to this is more because of public pressure.
And they tried to put it to sleep, like put it to bed real quick. Like, nope, we got her. Didn't happen. Moving on. But the fact that it's like, oh, no, we're not done talking about it. It shows you how powerful the public is.
Like, you imagine like how difficult of a job it is to find 6 people that don't exist. Like, that's crazy.
Damn.
Talk about reporting. She pulls that off. Oh, my God.
And that's
her
a
statue
I mean,
built.
I think we do
alleged.
it.
That's
I
alleged.
think we do it
there could be 6
during the
people.
fall every year when everyone's voting. I mean, there's a lot of names that show up.
Damn,
around.
we done took it to the polls?
I'm just saying.
Damn.
It can't be that hard. I think both political parties figure out a way of doing it every time we get an election.
America is screwed.
You know what I like about doing the show with you guys? When there's a story that's real muddy, a lot of people are like, ooh, I don't want to get dirty. And we say, grab a snorkel, we're going in.
Yeah, by the way,
going in.
to the jerko that chimed in on social media that thought we didn't touch it, I'm like, bro, we didn't just touch it. We grabbed it.
Yeah, we
all
did.
right?
We did.
We fully locked on, and we're letting go.
Oh, my